Hello and welcome. I overslept the live letter. I do sincerely apologize about that. So we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. We're going to watch the trailer, so we're not spoiled on anything, and then I'm going to go read the entire live letter and then break it down in the second half or second three quarters of this video. I thought about still doing a live reaction, but it's another live letter that is fully in Japanese, and my translating skills, as you know, are quite subpar. I can catch some things, and we can have a good laugh. And then there are just long periods of me just trying to understand. So I do know that the live letters will no longer have the job adjustments in them. Those will instead be in the patch note readings. So that is yet another reason to do a breakdown like this instead. But let me know which of the two you prefer more in the comment section down below. And let's give this trailer a go. My green screen is also acting up. Almost time to replace it. Okay, starting off back in Garlemald. Ruby weapon, yeah. Pretty loud. I should probably back that off a little bit. Ah, man, this fight is gonna be so cool. Ruby weapon looks really cool too. Yeah.
In such vessels did the ancients preserve concepts.
Okay, and this is Amnesis Editor.
Ideal forms to be drawn upon in the act of creation.
That boss looks cool. If that's even a boss. And then this is Eden. Okay, so that's not one of the primals. This would be Ramu. Look at Ramu! Oh, man. He's mixed with Ixion. That's cool. That's Ifrit, and that's Garuda? Wait, are we fighting both at the same time?
As the Exarch's research suggests, soul and mind share a fragile yet profound bond. Might it not be possible for an event to leave such a deep imprint upon the soul?
Is that Sawyer?
That it could be perceived eons later.
Wasn't that his name from the role quest? The tank role quest?
The light! It's too much for her to bear!
Oh, man. I'm so hyped for that. And that was Alamigo. Wasn't it?
In which case,
Maybe
none
not?
of this is mere coincidence.
Where do I recognize her
By
from?
the will of the star itself could such a miracle come to pass.
You got Sid, too. There's Xenos. Was that Dalamud? That is Dalamud. And that was here, C, as in answers.
How very unlike you to err so gravely.
Okay. Yep, I'm hype. I'm very hype. Okay, let's go back through this. Let's take some stuff out here. We've got let's mute it and just touch on specific things here. I want to Who is this all-round girl? Why do I recognize her? She's from a quest line for sure. I want to say it was the Warring Triad, but it might not be. But we have worked with her before. And then I'm pretty sure that's Sawyer, isn't it? Isn't that his name? The guy from the role quest, the tank role quest? Because Sarig is the one from the other one. Maybe that's not him. Maybe that's somebody else, and I'm just insane. And then this. What is this? This is Dalamud. Why is there another Dalamud? Dalamud is like such an important thing for all of my characters story-wise. So like Man. All right. Man, what is going on here? Let's go back and look. Xenos walking around inside a Malrot? What the heck? Go back and look at these primals again, too. So we have Ifrit and Garuda. There's Ramu Ixion, which is really cool. That's a cool decision. And the wings. Where's the wing inspiration coming from? That. Coming. That may be Zervin? Man, that's a combination right there. Good job, me. Then we have good job, me, as in it's my character's fault for as in good. Then we have Garuda with a bunch of extra wings, maybe because of the number of times we fought Garuda. Garuda's design, I like it. It looks like Garuda though, which is kind of a surprise to me. I expected it to be out there, but maybe there's like a face transition or something. Ifrit looks cool. Ifrit looks like 15 Ifrit. He looks cool. Like how long his horns are. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I definitely like it. I think it looks better in the regular design for sure. Not that there's anything really wrong with the regular design. Yeah, I think this is a good looking trailer. And then the Emmett Selk. Let's hear that again.
Emmett Selk, how very unlike you to err so gravely.
Oh, very unlike you to err. Oh man, I'm so stoked! All right, I am going to come back in just a moment. It will be no time at all for all of you, and I'll have read through all of the live letter stuff, and we'll be breaking it down. Hello and welcome. This completely desynced the last time that I recorded this, so we're going to try again. But again, let me know in the comment section down below if you would prefer to have the video be me live reacting to the live letter, or if you would prefer to have it instead as just the breakdown that we're going to do today. You've already seen the trailer breakdown that I did. It's the first part of this video, so we're now going to break down the rest of the patch. Before we get into any of the actual pictures or any of the rest going on here, Yoshi P had some things to talk about. Started off by talking about how he had been created in the Neo 2 character creator contest, how that touched him, and he really appreciated that. And then also how he was mentioned in one of his favorite authors' tweets, so he's quite flattered. He also states at the start of the trailer probably looked very confusing, which it did, and the patch date will be on February 18th, which is a Tuesday. He is hoping that they won't have to have 24-hour maintenance. The goal is to just have 6-hour maintenance for the patch, but he also says that the patch itself is kind of long. The cutscenes are a little long, so please set aside some time. He says you should set aside a day for the patch, so please be aware of that. From there, he gets into some discussion on mods. Specifically, he starts off by talking about mods that allow you to take lewd pictures and how that's not allowed. Not only does that hurt the image of the game, but in some countries, it's illegal. So you shouldn't do that. He asks you please not to. He also asks you not to use tools like parsers. Says that he understands that parsers only pull the code. They don't actually affect the code in any way. And that you could technically do the same thing with an Excel macro, but he's taking a stance against it. He says they won't be adding an official parser. People may think it's less efficient, but he doesn't think the game is fun if all you push for is efficiency. He also thinks that it would turn everything toxic, so it won't be implemented ever. From there, he says, we're not going to do anything. We can't do anything if you have a little ACT window on your screen. They don't want to scan your computer for anything. That's against the law. But if you have streams or screenshots or videos where you were using upgraded tools from ACT that have add-ons that allow you to instantly replace waymarks during fights, that's not okay. And things like being able to show where untargeted AoEs will hit, those will come with heavy penalties. So please be aware of that. From there, we get into the actual patch information itself. This is from the trailer. Again, we saw that there. Really interested in what all this is. And of course, we have our shot of the Tuesday, February 18th. I'm also apologizing for the quality of some of these pictures because they were ripped straight from the stream. But continue. To avoid some of the problems with waymarks, they have a new waymarker UI. In some ways, I think this is really good, and in some ways, I think this could hurt play for casuals, and for just casual play in general, pugs. But in high-end raid and savage raid. I think this is actually going to be really cool. The main goal here, of course, is to set your preset and then be able to use the preset every time instead of having to manually place all of your markers, which can save a lot of time for high-end raid core players. And the other thing that allows you to do is to set up sets for specific fights, even when you're playing just with friends. Or like, hey, no, you need to get over here. The disadvantage, of course, is that you can't change them mid-fight. You will only be able to do that in PvP now. You'll have to use the presets or set them up before the fight starts, which can be a pain for fights that have extra phases, but you could use ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4 for phase 1 and phase 2. From there, we get into the just information about what's going to be covered later. We'll cover each of these things as we get to them and break them down some more. Of course, new era quests, Sorrow of Werelitz, which I believe will be this guy, and then the Blades of Gunhildr, Amnesis Enidir, Cinder Drift, which is Ruby Weapon with an extreme version, and then a secret 5.25 trial, which will be tied to the Blades of Gunhildr. And we're also from now on only going to be getting one dungeon because we're getting these extra story content. Interesting. So then we have some shots from Eden's Gate, I believe, here. This is the birds. And then the next shot is from Anamnesis Enidir because of all the coral on the walls. From there, we get into the Eden Savage splash screen, which is Eden's Verse is what it's called, as well as the job changes splash screen. We'll get into all those later. We're going to be talking about Ishgardian Restoration, as well as expert recipes. They don't really get into that too much, except there is the ability to practice those by using 300 gil to buy a practice recipe, so that you don't have to use all your materials. And then there will be some changes with fishing, which will be coming in, as well as a notification there, which is really cool. So please be excited for those. We'll get into all the breakdowns there. Materia changes, fishing changes, crafting system updates. We don't really get much about that, just that they're going to be removing some abilities, though not many, they said. And then we'll get into ocean thing as we get. And then miscellaneous updates. Alligan Tombstones of Allegory will be added. Additional New Game Plus, which is Alliance raids. So that'll be like Crystal Tower, if you want to go back and do those. Rank increase for free companies that allows it to get to rank 30. That'll allow you to increase the size of your free chest, which is really cool. Leap of Faith that we'll talk about later. Fellowships can now be viewed in the companion app, and umbrellas will be added, which we will talk about. Then we get into the Cinder Drift. Yoshi P shows something he's not really supposed to show here, he says. This was a mistake, and he's worried that they'll be upset with him about it. But he mentions that this fence looks safe, which I feel like means the fence will probably break at some point. And this mechanic that he wasn't supposed to show kind of makes me think of Black Rose. And we'll get into Shadowhunter's story, as we'll call him, so we avoid spoilers. Shadowhunter's backstory as part of this trial and the quest to lead into it. From there, we get into the job adjustments themselves. It's not that much, because from now on, they'll be separating the numbers and the big info on job adjustments into the regular patch notes, so we won't be covering those as part of the live letter anymore, really. But the ones that we do know are that Red Mage is getting a buff, potency increases, again, no damage numbers given, and that Summoner's Dots will be getting a nerf. Summoner is currently doing too much damage, they said. I do apologize for that. Kind of a shame. I don't really like it when they nerf jobs. I'd rather they just build everything up to that level, but I get it. Summoner does a lot of damage right now. Samurai's meditation stacks will be moved into the UI so that they're easier to see. And in PvP, Holmgang is getting adjusted, Monk is getting adjusted, and Dancer is too strong and will. They also mentioned that they want to make all the jobs in PvP be at Summoner's level. I haven't played Summoner in PvP since they added the AoE changes. I've played it before that, but I'm kind of excited to try it now and see what they think is the good baseline. From there, we move into the Qatari. The Qatari are the new beast tribe in Raktika for 70 plus for gatherers and gatherers only. Mentioned here that they use Gozaru as a verbal tick, which is obviously the Kugane or the Edo period samurai tick, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why that is, and I hope we find out. Yoshi P thinks the story is very entertaining, and we'll explain why we haven't seen them before in Raktika. They do mention, however, that the story splits at a point, and you have to choose which one you're going to follow, and you don't get to see the other one. You don't get to walk it back. You don't get to go back and do the other path. In some ways, I think that's kind of interesting because it makes it special for your character. And in other ways, I worry about that because it means if I want to see the other one, I have to level another character, which, I mean, I have other characters. It wouldn't be that tough, especially with the changes to gathering XP. It wouldn't be that difficult at all to get one up there. And of course, there's YouTube and Reddit and all kinds of places where you can see the changes. But I do think that's interesting, having it specific to your character because you picked a path. It reminds me of the Yorha raid, and we'll see how all that turns out. Past the Qatari, we get into the new mount for the Qatari, the Ronka mount. Looks like he's in a pot. Very excited. I want the Great Serpent of Ronka so badly. Give me my scree. I want to fly around on him. Don't ask why he can fly. It's Ronkan magic. We get into Leap of Faith. New Leap of Faith is the Nemean Ruins Leap of Faith, or the Amdapori Ruins. I can't even remember which one. Very, very cool. I think it's Nemea. Really like the look of this. They said there'll be traps. Yoshi P mentions that it was a lot easier to do this during the test run, and that doing it on stream is really difficult, which is pretty funny. But it looks really cool. And then they cut to break for a FanFest video, which just ends in a big thank you, which is cool. We come back from break and get into Eden's Verse. This is still a really cool screenshot. With Eden's Verse, of course, we have our Ramu equivalent. Yoshi P mentions that if you are a veteran player and you hear Thunder, you probably think of Ramu. But if you started in Stormblood, you may think of Ixion first. So that's why the Warrior of Light has mixed the two. Mentions how interesting it is that there are 6 grooves here. And how that's going to work. Most likely going to be an Ixion charge. And then mentions here that these Thunder, that clearly you want to pick those up, right? How can you not pick those up? But then laughs afterwards, which makes me think that might be a trap. So we'll see. I'm excited to find out. You can fall off this arena too, so don't misjudge that. Then we get into ocean fishing. Ocean fishing is fisher exclusive content. Board a ship at a specified time to enjoy fishing on the high seas. You receive experience and scripts based on fish caught, and after meeting certain conditions, passengers may discover a spectral current and the chance for a big haul. You can start this at level 1 fisher. See the NPC here that you'll talk to. Every 2 hours in real life, you can fish for 15 minutes. Kind of a weird restriction, but I get it. It's supposed to be like a fishing tour, right? They specifically wanted to try and make content that you can easily access during your free time. Content you can do after you're done with your dailies, but before it's time for raid, which I think is pretty interesting. I like that mindset. I just don't know how I feel about the 2-hour limit. There are 2 fishing locations currently. There will be Costa del Sol and then off the Dravanian coast, and each spot has 3 fishing spots that it stops at each route. Again, they put a lot of effort into these cutscenes. One trip takes you around 30 minutes to get all the way around. You cannot skip the cutscenes because they put a lot of work into them and they want you to see them. And you can queue as a party, so they hope that you'll go in as a group and have challenges to see, like, who's the best fisher in your FC, who's the best fisher on your fellowship, who's the best fisher on the server. You get 21 or 24 people on one ship. You can buy bait once you get there, so you don't have to worry about if you forgot bait. This is the UI that shows you the time and how many points you've gathered. And then this is probably my favorite part of it, the new UI element, the notification that shows you that you've hooked a fish, and you can now attempt to reel it in. That'll be great, especially since I do most of my fishing while watching movies or tokusatsu. Then here's the ship itself. Obviously, they say it looks very different when you have a bunch of players on it. And you can leave at any time, unlike in real life. There is no penalty for leaving the fish, or the ship, I suppose. And then here is a glimpse at what the cutscene when they're leaving to the next area would look like. You can also gather these fish prints and put them on your wall. I'm assuming that comes from the fishing. Then we get into the raid gear. We have fending, which I think looks really good. I like it. We have striking. Or no, maiming, I'm sorry. Which I love this spear. I think it looks really cool. You can fire a Gerskogel or a Nastron right out of that gap there. Following that is striking, which would be monk and samurai. Looks pretty good. I would kind of like a different view where we can see the chest, but I like it. Then aiming, which looks incredible. I love this aiming set so much. Scouting, again, would like a different angle. I really don't like those little feather tufts on the head, but it doesn't look bad. I really like, let's go back real quick. I really like the little claws on the end of the hand because you're a ninja. Cool, climbing claws. Healing set, I think, looks incredible other than the hair tufts for the feathers. Again, I think it looks really good. And then the casting set, I think, other than the hat, looks really nice. I love the black feathers contrasted with the white feathers. I think it looks really cool, but I hate the hat. Just a me, that hat at all. And then the crafted gear for ranged DPS looks incredible. I love this little, like, one shoulder cape with the little mechanical glove. This looks really cool. I'm really hyped for this set. Then we get into the Ishgardian Restoration itself. From here, this is where gatherers will be able to join in. You have the diadem, which used to be a huge pain, now looks to be pretty cool. It is a gatherer's wonderland, supposedly. They also, while we're talking about this, we should mention, they feel like they made a mistake by allowing world visit with the Ishgardian Restoration stuff, and so they want to give you more opportunities this time to be able to take part. Weren't able to. So inside diadem, you will no longer be targeted by the mobs. You can fly around freely. The mobs over there won't mess with you. But as you gather, you fill this gauge. And once your compressed ether gauge is full, you can fire a laser cannon to kill the mob and gather the materials. And each mob drops different materials, depending on what mob type it is. You have to be level 17 to enter, but it seems like a great way to level up gatherers. They also state the animation's really cool, but don't forget, you're still a gatherer. You also can get a new mount from in here. The Dole mount. It's really cool. Really like the look of it. But Yoshi P does mention it's really big, so it's kind of hard to see around to fly. Still really cool, though. Once you've gathered some stuff and you come back, you can turn it in. And then you can also access the Kupo of Fortune NPC right here. The Kupo of Fortune is a scratch card. The left side can only give you the items between 2 and 4, but has a much higher chance of giving you the item shown. Won't give you 1 or 5. Whereas the right side has a chance to give you any of them. So it is a gamble, but you want to gamble with it because you could get this bread-eating emote, which seems pretty cool, or you could get this glamour. At first, I was like, I don't know that I like this glamour too much, but honestly, having looked at it a little bit more, I think I kind of like it. From there, we get into the Sky Steel tools. These are relic tools, basically. Legendary tools that blueprints have been passed down so you can build them. I think they're pretty cool. I really like this pan with the dragon in the bottom of it. And then this blue steel saw. I think that looks really cool. I'm excited to mess around with these. They get better as you further the patch cycles with them and use them more. As you see here, primary tools can be upgraded over the course of multiple patches. It begins with the Crest of the Broom. Crafter gathers specified items to enhance these tools and enlist the aid of the Sky Steel Manufactory. Maybe we'll be seeing old Stefanimi again. From there, we get into the Blades of Gunhildr. These will be updated in future patches as well, and they will be added as additional quests for it past patch 5.5.3. 5.3 words. Come on, man. I know this is the third time we've recorded this, but come on. From there, we get a little bit more information about these. It'll be a quest series for equipable equipment. Playing through the quest available in patch 5.25 will give you the base weapon. You can join the Resistance and free Bosja from the rule of Legatus Noah von Gabranth of the 4th Imperial Legion. The players must first complete the Return to Ivalice quest series, so now we will finally be able to continue Ivalice. This will be kind of Eureka-like. They say, please don't think of it as another Eureka. It is influenced, but it will be very different. It will have a field instance, which will come in 5.5. And it will level separately in that field instance, just like Eureka. But again, they say it'll be different. They also want to have an instance like the Baldesion Arsenal, but again, different. Please look forward to that. That seems pretty cool. I'm really excited to follow that quest line some more. We kind of just left that hanging. So I'm glad to continue it. From there, we get into umbrellas. Umbrellas work kind of like a mount. And as you can see here, Yoshi P's skipping around with it. But also differently. Here's a better shot of the umbrella itself, and you can see the shade that it casts. They wanted to originally have the umbrella just as an item, but that didn't quite work. And so then they tried maybe making umbrella a job so that you could equip the jobstone and have it that way, but they didn't really like that. The question was asked, what do we do when we want to fight a mob while we hold an umbrella? So eventually they get led to this that they have now, which is kind of like a mount. The other thing is that it will stop rain. So if you are standing in the rain, your character will not get wet because you're holding an umbrella. Is pretty cool. The last big gameplay thing is that your materia can now be, or your gear that you have a full spirit bond with can now be converted into materia without losing the gear. So now it just eats the spirit bond instead of eating the gear, which means obviously you can make more of it. That will give you a lot easier access to materia as time passes, which is really cool. I could see the gear that you use every day, actually using spirit bond sanctions again to be able to build up Spirit Bond on that as you play passively so that you can convert it into materia, which is pretty cool. I like that. Yoshi P also says if you currently have Demi materia, you should sell it. Yoshi P also says if you currently have Demi materia, you should sell it because something's happening to your Demi materia. From there, we get into FanFest information. San Diego, California for the North American FanFest from San Diego Convention Center, or at the San Diego Convention Center, November 6th and November 7th of 2020. Then we have Japanese FanFest, FanFest Japan, Nagoya in Japan, at Aichi Sky Expo, December 19th and December 20th of 2020. Then we have the European FanFest, which is London, UK, at Excel London from February 20th to February 21st. Then if you're going to be at PAX East from Thursday, February 27th to Sunday, March 1st, you will be able to fight Ruby Weapon, and if you beat it, you can get a shirt. There's also the new art book coming, which has a wind-up Julia Chai minion. Then there is a hotel room that is Il-Meg themed, and if you stay there, you get one of these beaver cups. So that's cool. And then the primals will be from April 14th and to April 15th in Tokyo at Toyoyasu Pit. So that's cool. Please sign for that. And then finally, they say goodbye. It was a pretty interesting live letter. I think we got some good stuff announced. They spent a lot of time on Gatherers, which is okay. Gathering is fun, and I'm glad that they're updating it, especially Fisher. But it is still kind of a shame that we don't get any of the job change information here. And obviously, they didn't talk too much about the story because they don't want to spoil too much. But we got some more information about Relic Quests. But I think as a whole, it was a pretty good one. Let me know again in the comment section down below how you feel about this coverage. Should we continue to do the live reactions where I desperately try to translate as we go on the fly? Or should we continue doing these breakdowns instead where I just show off the images and talk about them? Regardless, until next time, I've been Trey. This has been The Full Spectrum. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum Final Fantasy XIV and Letters from the Producer Live have to offer.